frequency lounge, where your heartbeat goes to drown in a deeper, deeper sound. So deep. Rise up, then we melt back down. This is the frequency lounge. Let your body flow.
This is the Frequency Lounge, a space for honest conversation about identity, healing, and what it takes to actually come home to yourself. Today, I am blessed to be able to interview my good friend, Angela, model, actress, creative visionary. She is amazing, and she just has such a great story. And I can't wait for you guys to hear what she has to say. You know, Angela has built her presence in high-driven, high-performance industries where you have to be disciplined, resilient, and able to move on your feet. So, Angela, we met about 3 years ago. What was going on in your life back then that was just, you were showing up, you were performing, but like underneath all of that, what was really going on?
First off, I actually can't believe it's been 3 years. That's wild.
Yeah, almost.
Oh my God. Honestly, it feels that it's been longer than that in a good way, but that's really exciting. For me, so 3 years ago, I was just getting back into the creative space. This was my first time getting signed as a model and also an actress. I had no idea what I was getting into, really. It had been over a decade since I had been in the entertainment industry, and so much had changed. So I really had no idea what I was getting into. I knew I had a dream. I knew I had several goals, and a part of me knew I was crazy, but a part of me knew that something had to change. This was probably around the time 3 years ago was a time where I was kind of at war with myself. I sort of knew who I was, maybe was remembering who I was, but was also just insanely oppressed, repressed, and was just really afraid to showcase who I was. And that was all just through society, conditioning, and trauma. But a lot of that I thought was normal. I thought I was just living a normal human life. Like, it was just, I'm just going through the motions. This is what it's like. This is what it's like to be an adult. All this kind of stuff and all this conditioning. And then so when I got back into the entertainment and the creative space, there was just a lot unfolding. And it was unfolding fast. It was a lot of chaos and a lot of pain that was coming back to the surface. I was lost. I was lost, but also lost with a passion. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. And your passion is obviously acting, modeling, and just being a creative. So how has that changed since 3 years ago?
Honestly, it's been probably one of the most intense and wild rides in my life. And it's also been scary because getting back into being me and being an artist, out of everything, what this industry does to you is if you have like triggers, any sort of trauma or anything that is hidden beneath that surface, it comes up. It really does. Because in this industry, it really is, you're your own artist, you're your own brand. It's all up to you. And what being creative is it's being true to your soul. And a lot of people, especially in this day and age, we're kind of caught in this role of performing all the time. And then at some point we start realizing it's like, well, am I this performer or am I this? And we start getting lost and disconnected. And for me, that's kind of where I started. And that's actually how I found you. Realistically, that's how I found you, because I kind of just jumped into the industry and healed, just heart on my sleeve. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And then all this stuff started coming to the surface. But what I realized in me is that I can't give up. So even when I was having these inner battles and all this chaos in my life, that's, I think, why we met, is because I knew I needed healing. I knew I needed something, but I wasn't exactly sure what I needed. And I'm sure you can attest to this. I mean, you're the one that met me and you're like, so for me, this was really, it was a healing moment, but it was also terrifying.
Terrifying how?
Because I had to face things in my life about me and even things that I've done to other people that I wasn't ready to face. You know what I mean? It brings all the shadows just start coming forward, and you're like, damn, I gotta I have to face this. And you also have to be willing to surrender. And what a lot of us don't realize too is that when we are disconnected like this, we have this weird, I know in my reality too, I was a big control freak, massive control freak.
Test, I am too. I still am.
And it's hard to let go. It's really, really hard. So when I realized in this space that I needed to heal, and what was wild is I felt like I could control my healing. And that's such a crock of shit. And that might have actually been one of my biggest takeaways from entering into this healing journey was surrendering. I mean, even with you came to me open and you were honest about what you do and what you provide as far as healing goes. But you're like, girl, you got to put in the work. You got to trust me. And you got to surrender. Otherwise, you were honest. You're like, it won't work. And that was really eye-opening for me because that took a minute. And I'll even attest this because we're friends. It was even harder for some reason. It was actually harder to surrender and trust you at first because it was such a weird thing.
Well, I mean, if we can be friends, you can be friends with somebody, but going into your subconscious mind and actually extracting memories that are painful, that may make you vulnerable, that maybe you don't want people to know about, you know? But luckily I am a safe therapist and everything is confidential in our sessions. And, you know, I'm glad you trusted me because you have just blossomed into this like amazing flower that's just taking on the world right now. And it's just so beautiful to see. And
I had a great gardener. I don't know.
Water, right? 'Cause I plant the seeds.
Right?
Just plant the seeds and then you let it grow.
But that's the funny thing is what is that cliche? It's not you know what I mean? Like it's the environment you're in.
Yeah.
And you gave me that environment. That was the wildest part is that I trusted a part of me trusted me because I mean, if I'm going to it's inner demons, you're right. It's so vulnerable. And a lot of times too, when we come unhealed, it's almost harder because when we come unhealed, we're still usually carrying forms of like guilt or shame, or like embarrassment. So to even go to somebody and even want to heal that, it's more difficult. You know what I mean? Because it is like, yes, it's a vulnerable state to be in, but we as that individual, when we're traumatized, when we're hurting like that, we have our own guilt and we have our own shame that we're carrying on top of that, which is not necessary, but we do that.
Mhm.
You know, and that was a big thing is you set the environment in a way, but I also have to give myself that pat on the back where I was like, damn, I trusted you.
Yeah.
I did it. You know, and you creating that kind of space was eye-opening. It really, really was because it made me also realize how much I had not trusted others anymore. That was I'm like, that was a leap of faith. That was a straight leap of, but probably one of my biggest aha moments where I'm like, by doing that, because now, I mean, life's different. It's amazing.
How much do you not care anymore?
I mean, okay. So not care about what? Because I feel like
the rejection, going to auditions and not getting the role and all of those things that come along with being in the industry that you were struggling with in the beginning. Like, how has that transformed to today?
It's actually really cool because yes, in your own way, I don't give a shit. And it's actually really funny because so when I started my healing journey with you and I had all these different eye-opening experiences, auditions were different, casting calls were different, talking to different people, like being in bigger rooms with bigger people. I just didn't care. Or I guess another way to put it is I felt like I belong there. Like I have a spot here at this table and I deserve to be here. And before then it was, oh my God, it was constant like, why am I here?
Yeah, like feeling you belong.
Yes, it was just massive imposter syndrome. And what was so wild to me is that I did not even realize what it stemmed from until you helped me really see what it was and where it came from. That the deep subconscious and realizing what it came from and then being able to just get rid of that. And not in a way where it's hateful or hurtful. It was like kind of just saying bye to a friend. Weirdest thing, I know. But it really was like letting go of my imposter syndrome and my doubt and my unworthiness. It was wild because it was kind of like saying bye to an old friend that just didn't serve me anymore. You know, it wasn't like I hate you or I'm angry at you because you screwed me up, blah, blah. It was one of those, you had a time, you had a place, and I get it. And I appreciate that for saving me and protecting me when you needed to. But now it's like, no, now it's different. Like now I need you to be there. I need you to go away, retire, put out to bed, whatever you want to call it. But that was a really big moment for me. And I owe that to you. That was 100% because I feel like I've been struggling with that for a while. Because I told you when we had our consult, I'm like, I feel like I've been struggling with this for a while. And I've tried different forms of therapy, forms of just different things that I thought was going to help or thought would get rid of it. And it was just still there. It was still popping up. And it wasn't until that deep rewire where I'm like,
You don't have to carry everything forever.
mhm.
And that's what's beautiful about our minds. Our mind's job is to protect us, right? And that's what your mind thought it was doing, protecting you, giving
Absolutely.
you that fear inside of your chest. And then when you can look at it without logic and just go into the subconscious and change the emotions, because that's what everything's tied to. Our emotions are what
Yeah.
bring us into that fear, into that guilt. Oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. So the fact that you are able to overcome that, like so many people struggle with that today. What is some advice you can give to others to like help them besides like obviously working with me, because that'll give you the step up, but what other things?
Yeah, that's
What
pretty
other
much the
things-
launch.
What other things that work for you besides just the session that we did?
That's a really good question. A lot. I mean, really, because that was one thing I also realized when I stepped into this and into this journey with you in the beginning was this never really ends. Healing is, you're never really done healing. And I guess what I find interesting is that when you do embark on this journey, you start to realize that there are so many tools out there. And a lot of times too, because I actually have to chalk it up to some of my cynicism. Like when I was unhealed, I would look at a lot of these different forms that I was told about and kind of sneer at it. I'd be skeptical. I was very sarcastic about it and, make jokes, all this kind of stuff. But in reality, it was kind of just me going, it's never gonna fucking work. And that's being real. Like that was a big, like skeptical part of me where I'm like, doesn't work. But it's also, it goes back to the whole like cliches are cliches for a reason. You know what I mean? For me, when I start on this journey with you, the recording I got from you, I still listen to it. When I'm having weeks or days or moments where, because I'm still human. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm still incredibly flawed. I still actually experience self-doubt and hesitation and all that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't just stop. And I think that's a part of healing that I think people don't understand is that it's not just point A to point B, you're done. Like it's not like a board game. You don't just, you finish and it's over. Okay. Like we still get trauma. Like we still, even as an adult now, we still have experiences that are still going to traumatize us. And experiences are going to happen, good and bad, that are just going to shape us. And so healing and growth, I feel like is something you kind of have to actively pursue. And you kind of ignited that in me. So I've taken just different forms of healing, whether they are mantras, affirmations. I take self-care very seriously. I need to have my time, my alone time. I had to figure out how to set boundaries and how to realize that you really can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take time and be like, no, I can't do this. No, I need to take time off. No, I can't do everything and anything. You have a battery and it does run low. And I feel like part of healing for me was taking that part seriously because I feel like you can heal, but you can also, I guess, fall back. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That you
absolutely.
can go back and self-sabotage again, or you can push yourself too far and let people, ixnay your boundaries. So I feel like it's kind of like it's like working out. You have to do it
Repetition.
every day.
Yeah, you can't just do 10 push-ups one day and just think you're going to have the most massive arms,
Exactly. Yes. I feel like that's like the best advice I can give anyone is when you start healing, you have to almost integrate it into your lifestyle, like into your daily routines, your weekly routines. That's where I feel like it'll have the biggest effect on you. It's when you start ixnaying it or tossing it to the side. That's where I feel like you relapse or you fall off or you know what I mean? You start to backtrack a little bit.
Mhm.
I feel like that's one of the biggest things that people don't realize is they think it's just start and finish.
Yeah,
And it's
no.
not.
There's not really a finish line unless you are like a guru and you're like, all right, I'm just totally healed. Nothing is going to affect me anymore. I don't know. Hopefully you can get that way. I want
Is
my
that what ultimate
my
Zen?
audience
I don't know what
to
that
never
is.
have to struggle inside, but that's part of our brain. We have been coded and if you look at our mind like a computer, like we can reprogram it. You've been programmed since birth to think a certain way, and now you have all these other things going on, and it's like, wait a minute, I have been trained improperly by people that were supposed to love me, people were supposed to help me grow up. Maybe you didn't have the best childhood. Some parents, you have to parent the parent, and
Yep.
in those situations, like you can recode your brain. It is possible, and it can happen faster than you think. So we were together for 4 weeks. When did you notice a difference?
I would say about halfway, like a little before halfway. I would say almost like a week and a half. I noticed my body felt different. I would say that was kind of the biggest things because, I mean, I was stuck in fight or flight for probably at least 30 years. And that was a really big shift in me just to feel within my body again. I did not realize how disconnected I was with myself, with how much my body was just struggling to calm down and ground itself. It never felt safe. It was always, scared. It was always performing. It was always doing these things to make sure that I didn't get hurt, even at home, and I'm like, I don't need to do this at home. So I would say, yeah, about a week and a half to 2 weeks, like that little time span, I just started feeling calm, like a weird sense of calm that I wasn't used to. I felt at peace, and it was alarming at first because I really wasn't used to that. And even in shapes and forms, it was actually coming off as I was just tired all the fucking time. I'm like, why am I so tired right now? And I just realized, I was like, oh my God, my body's been fighting and fighting for years. It's just exhausted. And it was really eye-opening for me to realize how tired I was and how good it felt to just, wow, I'm going to spend the next 16 hours sleeping. Yeah. But then there was a time frame too when I was going through that, like I would say from about week 2 to 3, where it kind of started tapering off. Like I wasn't as tired, but I still didn't feel, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was strung out. I was trying to find the right word for it, but yeah, I didn't feel strung out or tense. Like I felt I could go anywhere and I'm fine. You know what I mean? Whatever happens today. And that's the thing in my job, it's stressful all the time. I mean, fashion shows, being on set, casting halls, auditions, it's constant stress, pressure, and chaos. So if you're not grounded in your own body, whew, does it show? Because now as someone who does I enjoy being centered, I enjoy being at peace. When I go to sets, it's really obvious to see who is just,
Yeah.
it really, really is. And even as actors, like I know they put on a great face and a good front, but it's the inner turmoil is still there. And I feel like when you heal and become more at peace with who you are, you can see that it's like a freaking beacon, man. I'm just like, I feel so bad for you. But I'm also like, it's not my job to heal you. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, like, I'm good where I'm at, but my heart feels for you because I was there. I get it.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks ass to be in that position. So, but it's also the boundary thing, So it's a weird headspace to be in.
Yes.
if I'm
How do you
honest.
juggle all of that?
Balance. For me, I make sure I try to find a way I will work a lot. Like I do. I'm very passionate about my work, and obviously I'm on the go a lot.
Yes.
But I do take time to go off grid. I'll get outside, I'll go on a backpacking hike. I'll spend a few days outside. I won't talk to anybody. And I'll just be with myself, kind of remember who I am, especially after acting and being in a role. I need that. And I've realized in this industry, you have to set a boundary with yourself, like not just with others. Like obviously boundaries with others, super important. But when it comes to boundaries for yourself, because you and you alone know how much social energy you can handle, how many people you can be around, how long you can go for before you know that you need to rest. And everyone's different. Especially in age ranges too. I mean, as we get older, we obviously want to slow down a little bit more. If you're 22, you're like, yeah, I can go for 4 days and I'm fine. But so you have to kind of keep a really good balance within yourself. You have to kind of start realizing where you have to cap it with people, where you have to say no, where you have to be like, all right, I need to take at least 5 days off and not talk to nobody. It's it's really about and I think that's what healing is it's more about just understanding who you are. Because when we heal, it's all different for everybody. Like everyone's journey is going to be so freaking different. And some might take longer than others. Some might take like 48 hours. I don't know. Like I can't, vouch for that. But I know in my own journey, it's really just been about understanding me. And that's kind of what's allowed me to grow, to heal, to align with the proper people and like bring my tribe and my community and help also others heal, So it's one of those things where it's like I had to actually focus on me and then everything else was kind of falling into place without even really trying. Like I feel like I've had to honestly try less in my work by just loving me and focusing on aligning with what matters to me, and everything just kind of falls into place.
Yeah, it's crazy when you stop giving out the outside world all your energy and you start putting it inward and you actually start executing and doing all of the things that you said you were going to do, keeping your word. It's great.
It's amazing because you don't realize that even just keeping your word to yourself, everything else around you, like your word to other people will carry more weight. Like I say, I'm going to promise to do something for someone and they're immediately like, okay, like nobody questions me. And even for me, I noticed a shift in that because I know back when I didn't heal, I would flake. My anxiety would get the best of me and I'd be like, no, I can't do this. And I wouldn't go. And I'd bail out last minute and stuff like that. And I realized that it was ruining those relationships and it was ruining the trust that people had in me. And it was all because I didn't trust me. So when I healed and I, began trusting me again and following through on everything that I said I was going to do because I wanted to, not because of what others told me, not because of, what society is forcing on me and all that kind of crap. I did it because I wanted to. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I'm getting jobs. I'm getting this. Opportunities are falling into my lap. The rooms I'm meeting, the rooms I'm going in and the people I'm meeting are all different. It's a completely different energy. And I don't really know how to explain it other than you just have to do it and heal and like you'll understand. It's wild to me, but you can't really explain it in words. But I would say the best thing is you have to focus on you. And I know some people think that's selfish, but man, when you do, I feel like you get more done and you impact more people around you than you would ever do coming from an unhealed place, driving you know what I mean? Like those people that are like, I gotta go, I gotta do it, I gotta grind. Like they don't bother healing. They don't bother working on anything. They're just like pushing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even have to do that anymore. I could just sit here and I'm going to attract opportunities. I'm going to attract amazing people. And I'm like, wow. So it's like when you take your work seriously and you seriously,
everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
And it's like the belief in yourself. Cause I've struggled with believing in myself for my entire existence on this planet. It wasn't up until I chose to get sober 3 years ago that my life totally changed. I started going into rooms that I was like, there's no way I belong here. Like, there's no way I should be in this room. And you could see it on my face. You could feel it in my energy. Like, this girl doesn't think she even deserves to be here. And, I didn't. And going in and doing the work and knowing that God chose us to come to this earth for whatever reason, right? Whoever you want to call your higher power, you don't have to call it God. But I know that I was brought here for a purpose and a reason now. And I had to go through all of this suffering to bring me to where I'm at today so I can help other people because I've gone through it. It's not like I just read this in a book. I've gone through this suffering. You're sober now too.
Yes.
And living in Las Vegas, what does everybody want to do? They just want to go party. They want to go drink.
Yeah.
All the events that you go to, it's like, oh, you get a drink ticket. Oh, it's like, that's not where we need to be. We are putting ourselves in different rooms where, alcohol is not the number one
We're putting
focus.
ourselves first. It's really, I think, and that's the crazy thing is I met you 3 years ago. I remember being like in acting class with you and I could always like sense that about you where I'm like, damn, like this girl she doesn't think she can act. And I loved acting with you. I had so much fun being creative with you. And I was immediately like, damn, this girl has talent, but I knew that she didn't see it either. And I was like, damn, I'm like, she needs to see that. And it was also eye-opening for me too, because I felt that same way too, because I would be in class with you and I was also like, I have moments where I'm like, I do belong here. And then, like I said, I was kind of floating back and forth. And then there'd be moments where I was like, I don't know why I'm here.
Well, that was the environment we put ourselves in. That was not a very good
Exactly.
environment to grow as an actor or a
We were
model,
not in the
unfortunately.
proper environment. And then when we worked on ourselves, like we put ourselves first. Now, Jesus, look at us.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm like, it's like a total 180. I mean, our lives are so different in a really great way. You know, like it's, I honestly couldn't thank anyone more than you when it comes to healing and just inspiring me to be better all the time. I was like, yeah, this girl's gonna be my best friend. No, it really is. And I knew, and that's what I'm saying. And it's like, I've seen that in you the entire time. And it was really crazy to me because even when I healed from you, I'm like, yeah, this girl's it. I was like, you need to work with Rachel because like there was some sort of like eye-opening potential that I was like, damn, like you have something here. And you were so driven and you work so hard. So I'm like, damn, yeah. I was like, she can do everything. So it's really neat to watch you and I both, like how we've changed the last 3 years. Cause I just mind blown, you guys. 3 years. I just, I can't believe
It's almost 3 years, like 2.5. But yeah,
that's crazy.
it's been a while. We've been on a good journey, and it's a beautiful, beautiful life. I wouldn't change anything that I've gone through. I may have some regrets, but I would not be where I'm at today without all of the struggles. I'm super grateful for everything that's happened in my life. That sucks.
Well, I mean, everything that we go through is to make us stronger. If we had good days every day, they wouldn't even be good days, sweetie.
Yeah.
They'd just be days.
Yeah, it'd be boring. But that's why I
There's
say
a
life.
reason light and darkness. There's a reason yin and yang. There's a reason for that. It's looking back at all the traumas that I've been through, and you know I've been through some stuff. I wouldn't change it because of who I am now and the impact I'm about to make on the world, just as you are. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where I'm like, this is just our power and we're just owning it, you know, because we're not alone. I mean, there's people that have probably been through worse.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you, and there always will be, but it's really a matter of choice. Like you have a decision to make. You can either let it control you and let your life just be a life. You know what I mean? Like a freaking canoe in the middle of the ocean with one paddle. Or you can pick a direction and learn how to paddle both sides and go. You know, no matter where you come from, it doesn't matter if you came from homelessness, from addiction, from abuse, like it really doesn't matter. Okay. Like you can do anything, but you have to make that choice. If you don't, you are going to be exactly where you say you're going to be at. Whether you say your life sucks, whether you say your life is awesome, I will. And that's why I'll tell people that too. If they say something, I'll be like, you're right. If you think you're going to do it or you're not going to do it, I 100,000% believe you. But that doesn't mean I don't believe in myself. Like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit there and be derogatory on myself and all this kind of stuff because I know the potential and the power that I have. And I know people have that too. But if you're going to say it how you say it, I'm just going to let you in your reality because you are your own reality. You know, your belief will take you so far, but it's your belief. Like you can lead a horse to water all day long, but can you make him drink it?
Yeah. It's the choices. Life is just full of choices. What are you going to choose? Are you going to choose to blame your parents for not being good parents to you or you were children? Are you going to choose to blame the drugs that you chose to do, that's the drugs' fault? Are you going to choose to just say, you know what, I'm going to own all of it and it's all my fault now and I'm going to grow now because now I know it's all my fault and I can do something about it because I've taken accountability. So accountability is huge in my life. I know it's huge in your life.
No, it is.
And it should be huge in everybody's life because this is how we grow. This is how we become better humans in this world. I wasn't a nice person. I was a very angry drunk. You know, I got into fights. I was not friendly. People meeting me now, they're like, I can't see you like this. Good. Keep it that way because you don't want to see me like that. I call alcohol the devil for a reason. So I just can't have any amount of it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, I'm choosing to say no to alcohol. I'm choosing to say no to that lifestyle. And I love that I get to choose that every single day because I don't wake up hungover. I wake up clear-headed. I'm at the gym at 5, 6 a.m. Like, let's go, you know, like this is my life now. And it's so much better. And on top of it, I get to help people heal and become the best version of themselves and become that superhero. So you can be a role model for other people, like, because you already are. You know, there's little girls that are looking up to you like, I want to be like Angela. How many little girls in the talent aid or just your industry that run up to you and are like, I want to be like you.
It's really, oh, I cry. But it's really special to me to look at, oh, yeah, like I said, it's to me being able to inspire others and to just be authentic it's really, really beautiful. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I know I'm such a big baby now and I cry all the time. And it's actually really nice because I'm not ashamed of it anymore.
Yeah.
It's the wildest thing because I remember there was a time where I'm like, oh my God. And I would hide or I would just repress it or I would have that lump and I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Now I just don't care because I'm like, and I'm crying not out of sadness. I'm crying because I'm happy. My soul is so happy. And I know that the art that I make, the community that I have, my tribe, like this is what I was meant to do. And if I can just inspire one person to be better and authentic, I'm happy. Like I could die today and I'd be so happy. To me, it's just about being genuine and authentic. And you gave that to me.
You gave it to yourself. I just guided you.
I did. I did
just
give it to
guided
myself
you.
too.
I can't take all the credit, It takes two to tango.
You were a big part of it though. But no, really, like and healing's not pretty, you know what I mean? And I'm not gonna shame myself or sit there, but because it's an ugly journey sometimes. It really is.
Super
But
ugly.
it's really quite beautiful to take your pain and take all the experiences that we have, whether they're good or bad, evil, whatever you want to call it, connotate it. It's truly something because this is where art comes from. Whether it's singing, dancing, modeling, acting, like writing, whatever. But this is where the great artistry comes from. You can't have, and that's why I'm like, for you doing this in the creative community and healing the creative artists is so important because when you can do that, you're alchemizing that. You're now allowing artists like myself to take my pain and my trauma and all the darkness, all the guilt and the shame and create beautiful art, alongside being beautiful and glamorous and light and silly and flirty and fun. But I can balance both of those now beautifully. And it's crazy because my art really didn't have, I think, as much of an intention impact until I did start that journey with you. There was something different in my art. My art itself changed when I began healing.
Your soul came back. That's what happened. Like, I've been dead in the eye before. Pretty much every single one of my patients have lost the sparkle in their eyes when I first have the conversation with them.
Yep.
And then after that 4 weeks, they're like, ah. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
That was me. I mean, I even got messages. Even in my comments, people are like, wow, like your art lately. Like I was just like, thank you.
Yeah.
But it was really wild to me that yes, when you really heal, I'm not kidding you, you really alchemize. Like that's where magic starts. Because as an artist, I feel like a lot of us, we are in pain and we're looking for that outlet. We're looking for that expression, that connection, that impact to elicit that emotion because we just want to be understood. That's what we just want to be understood. That's all it is. Because a lot of us as artists, we feel lonely, we feel isolated, we feel misunderstood. A lot of us call ourselves misfits, like that's the whole thing. And to take the light and the dark and combine that and like that's where I'm like, yeah, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more grateful. I mean, I know I will always be healing and I'll always be on that journey, but yeah, you launched me into a whole nother level of, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah. And, I just see like the change just within those first few weeks. And I'm just like, wow, this is real. Change can happen faster than you can even imagine. If you decide and you choose what Angela decided to do, like, look at how much better her life is now because she took herself seriously. She started respecting herself. She started doing all of the things for herself instead of being the people pleaser that she was, trying to just be.
God, I don't miss that at
I'm
all.
in everybody's life. No, take yourself back. And she's taken her power back. She doesn't get used anymore. She's got her boundaries, I know just humans in general, the timing and making appointments, setting up interviews like this. People cancel on you all the time, and it's just frustrating. And it's like, we just wish we had somebody like us in our life. And I'm glad.
Oh, amen.
I'm glad we have each other in our lives.
I feel that in my soul. It really is wonderful, because I know as an artist too, I am like, will I ever meet the right people for me? I'm like, will I? And yeah, taking it seriously and putting in the work. I mean, that's really what, and I feel like that's where a lot of us as artists, or just anyone who wants to heal, that's where we get stuck, because it sucks. Because we'll get to that precipice and we're like, I don't know if I haven't faced this in about 25 years. Like, can I do this? And so I get that hesitation. I mean, I get that fear. But if you can push past that and face it, the amount of magic the amount of magic that you will have come into your life is just unreal. I mean, honest to God, if you even just take a year, okay, let's go back just 1 year from now. I would not ever in my wildest dreams imagine where I would be at today. I really can't. I mean, a lot of this was just a leap of faith. This was trusting me, trusting you, and just trusting the people in my life. And now I'm like, it's just, there's something about it. Yeah, it's wonderful. It really is. And it brings much more zest and passion and that lust for life. I can't tell you how, like, when I wake up in the morning now, I'm always excited. Like, I swear I'll wake up and I'm like, okay, let's ground, because I'm trying to be grateful. But then I'm also like, it's such a beautiful day outside. So I mean, things to complain about, being too happy or being grounded. Like, geez, my life sucks. But that's, I mean, it's a wonderful feeling. It really, really is.
I used to wake up dreading my life and not wanting to wake up. I
Me
wish so
too.
many times that I would not wake up the next day. And
Or do you ever remember waking up? I don't know if you guys ever had this, but I remember waking up and just having like immediate anxiety, going, I don't want to do today. Like, first 5 minutes, as soon as I open my eyes, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
There's a reason I used to be an alcoholic. There's a reason I'm sober. Like, it's the escapism and all of that. Like, I remember a time in my life where it was almost hard to contemplate being sober, which is wild to me now. Because in my mind, I'm like, I could not imagine not being sober. Like, I really couldn't. But I also do remember being that human that I would wake up. I mean, there were mornings I'll admit it, when I lived in the Midwest for a time, I would have a shower beer. I would have glasses of wine in the morning. There were times in my life where I'd wake up and I was not sober for probably more than 15 minutes.
Shower beer is crazy.
Told you. Yeah. I was like, you heard it here, folks.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. So I did. I made so many mistakes, and I had so much guilt and shame that I just couldn't even deal with everyday life.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. And I know I'm not the only one. I've talked to people that have done this. And I actually know people that still do this. But it's a real thing. To be able to face your life and be sober that's magic. It really, really is. Because I feel like a lot of us, it's the thing I was talking about earlier, the disconnect. We're so disconnected from ourselves. And to get lost in that, it's not worth it. Like, I look at it now, or I see other people that are in that cycle, and my heart really bleeds. Because it's like, as someone who's been there, I understand it on a very deep level. But then there's that version of me now where I have to have these boundaries. I can't just, every time my heart bleeds, I can't just lend out an olive branch.
Yeah.
I can't. Because healing is also your choice. You can't force healing on anyone. And that was a hard lesson I had to learn when I started healing, because of how, and I'm sure you see this all the time as a healer, you see how broken and how disconnected people are.
Mm-hmm.
And you also see the potential. And that's the worst part of it, because internally you're like, I could help you. And then the other part of you is like, they need to come to me. And it's a healthy boundary, but that was hard for me to be like, I can't help you. You have to help yourself. You know what I mean? But there's definitely a sense of that deep connection when you can see that pain and that hurt. But it's definitely a weird headspace having to be like, no, my boundaries are there. I'm sure you struggle with that, because I know I have.
Yeah, I mean, I would set boundaries and people would break them all the time, and I'm just training people how to to treat me. And if one boundary is broken one time, guess what? It's going to be broken every single time after that because you allowed it the first time. So it's like, keep your word to yourself. If you said, no, I don't want to do this kind of acting, and you decide to take on a role, let's just say it's nudity or something, like that goes against all your values and you don't want to do it. And then you end up doing it. And now you're resentful. Like those are the feelings that
That's where it
just
starts.
stay true to yourself. Just keep your word. If you don't want to do something, just say no. I would say yes to everything.
You're a yes man or yes woman?
Well, when people would ask for my help, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you. But then when it's like, when I need help, guess what? Nobody's there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm overextending myself. I'm waiting for the reciprocity and it's not coming. So now I'm frustrated and I'm just like, why am I friends with these people? Why am I saying yes to help somebody if they're not going to come through for me when I need it? So
exactly.
It's kind of like when you go through your healing, you're going to lose a lot of people in your life because guess what? You're going up in frequency and they're staying at the same level. I can't be around low vibrational people for very long. I will remove myself from an area because I can't stand the energy. I can't stand the conversations.
It's like a taint or like an icky feeling, at least for me. I don't know about you, but I get that too. And I'm like, wow, I need to leave.
Yeah.
You start to realize that I feel like it's one of those things where it's like a lot of people want to sit at the bottom of the mountain, but then you don't realize that as you're climbing that mountain, a lot of times you're by yourself, right? Or people are trying to hold on to you as you're going up. But then you don't realize that getting to that, breaking through that cloud line and getting to that next mountain peak, you're not the only one up there.
Yeah.
There are other people up there. They're different people, but they're your people. I think that's what a lot of us don't realize because I see that a lot too. I even felt like that at one point where I was at this point and I was very just in between communities and people. Wow, did I struggle with that. There was a time where I was so in between that and it drove me almost insane because a part of me was really trying to stick to my boundary. And then another part of me was like, but I love these people. And then I would get put into different, bigger rooms, different people, different high vibrational beings. And I felt like I belonged there and I wanted to be there. But then a part of me was like, but I miss you guys. Because it is scary going into the unknown. I mean, when I met these people, I didn't have a background with them. This was my first time meeting most of them. A lot of the people that I had been starting to meet have been doing this for decades, for years. They have they're set, their careers, some of them are even looking to retire. And so for me, like coming into spaces like that, it took me a minute to be like, okay, I need to give myself time to let these relationships blossom. And in order to give myself that, I had to let go of relationships. That is a big point. You're right. You can't hang on to everyone.
Yeah.
You really can't.
They'll drag you down.
They will literally drag you because even if their intention is to love you, it's still not always, it can be toxic.
Yeah, especially if there's conditions.
Yes. Because I don't think some people realize that their love is conditional. And like I said, it goes back to being disconnected. People just don't realize some of the things that they do. I would say that was probably one of my biggest lessons was figuring out who I needed to let go of and who I needed to keep in my life, who I knew would always be, because there are always going to be those relationships where they will elevate with you. They'll grow with you and they will continue to help push you. So it was a big balance of figuring out who will still stay and help me grow, but also to be like, okay, even though I know these people care about me, I know these people love me, it's time to let them be, and not in a hateful way. I think that's the hardest part, is trying to kind of let go and cut these ties without hate or without discontent. And a lot of times you'll find that the other side or the other party, there'll usually be some tension, or there'll be resistance, or there'll be hate, or there can be drama that comes out of it, but it'll always die down. It's just pretty much like bringing a pot to a boil, and then after some time I'm like, well, it's gonna simmer down. It's not gonna stay like that forever.
Yeah. So if we could leave the audience with one final thought from Angela, what is some advice that you can give others in this acting community, modeling community, to just be the best version of themselves?
I gotta think on that because I have so many.
That's okay.
For me in this industry, I would say my final thought is you have to trust your intuition, trust the energy. That will probably get you farther because everyone in this industry is going to have a word or something to say or something to sell you on, whether it's a vision, a dream, whatever. You got to trust your gut. That's my biggest thing for anyone in this industry is trust your gut.
You guys ready to trust yourselves? Because not too many people do. And it's all about that intuition. One thing, your intuition will never lie to you. Just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It will never lie to you. Always listen to that little talking in your stomach and you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Maybe you should ask, like, why doesn't that feel right? Let's analyze this situation here. So, well, I just appreciate you so much, Angela, and thank you for being my first guest on the Frequency Lounge.
I'm so honored.
So before we move on from this episode, just pause for a second. Notice what part of this conversation feels familiar. Sometimes the things that resonate are not random. It's recognition. This is the Frequency Lounge. Remember, it's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you are. See you next time.
Yay!
Was that good?